Hello and welcome to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg of Greenberg Financial Group.
Good to see you again.
Great to see you as always, and we always have so much to talk about today. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready, Sarah.
All right then, let's get right into it. I would love for people who don't know you and have never, who have never sat with us before to know about you and your story and what makes you so different as a financial advisor.
Well, it's not just me, it's the whole firm, Greenberg Financial Group, obviously. We've been around in Tucson since 1988. Everyone says that things that happen to you in your life is what define you later on. And, in 1987, when the market crashed, and some people know the story, some don't, I was the only person that was a buyer that day. And I actually opened up a new account. And that was back when you actually called a stockbroker and doing those things. And we bought a whole bunch of stock. It was only IBM. Opened an account, bought IBM, because that was the stock at that time. And then about 5 days later, after everyone's in the account, they see in the account, they were excited, I was told that I did not get that stock because the back office wasn't able to put it together. And I said, the reason they didn't put it together, because the stock has now ran 30 points, and someone else took my order. And I said, that's not right, that's not fair, that the client should be taken care of. Next day I come in, and all my stuff boxed up, and they fired me. Devastating. You get fired from something, it's devastating. And it was part of your life. I was about 31 years old at the time, and you just think everything fell apart. And then eventually you kind of put the pieces together and you define who you are. And I was in Atlanta at that time, and it was time to get out of there. And I had a friend here in Tucson, Arizona, and I decided to come to Tucson, Arizona to get out of the brokerage business and get into real estate. Well, the real estate market that they were dealing with, everything they were doing was wrong. Everything they did was wrong. And I said to them, I'm not going to do this, because if I continue to go down that road, all you're going to do is get in trouble, and I'm done. I figured nothing for nothing is wrong. I want to do this the right way. So in 1988, I sat down and I said, what do I want as the client? And I sat on the other side of the table and I said, I want fee business. And if you think about it, fee business is the big buzzword now, but back then in 1988, no one even understood what fee business was.
Yeah.
So we built up a fee business thing, and that's where we kind of started. And we built it from there. So what happens is everything starts with client comes first. Now you have laws and regulations to be a fiduciary. I laugh at that because we always believed a fiduciary. We always believed the client comes first.
Explain what that is, people who don't know.
Fiduciary means you have a responsibility as an advisor, supposedly at a higher limit, to make sure that you put the client first and the things that you're doing for the client are correct.
You're not just selling certain products to sell them. You're doing what's best for the client and their needs.
Exactly. Which brings us back to why we're so successful now is the financial plan. I always believe you have to plan. As most people know, I've been a football coach for a long time. We always have a plan going into game day, game night. When that plan isn't working, what do? Change it. So yes, during a football game, you change it, by halftime. But in a financial plan for someone's life, you change it as they change. If they might have a wedding, they might have health problems, or they might come into some inheritances. Whatever it is, you make the changes so when they get to the point of after accumulation, and they have to de-accumulate their money, now we have a plan on how they're going to spend the money they made.
Don't you feel like a lot of people think that they have a plan in place, but all they really actually have is a stack of statements in front of them? They don't actually have a plan. They've never sat with somebody who's talking to them about these different phases of life and how you want to approach their finances closer to retirement. It's not
even just a bunch of statements. It's a bunch of ideas in their mind that they've accumulated over the last 20 years of what they think retirement should look like. But then they get there and they freeze because they don't know what to do on how to pay for what they want to do without running out of money. They stress out. And in today's world, it's easy to be stressful if you look at any news station, if you look at any social media, or if you're not doing anything, you don't know what to do. So you sit there and go, I'm scared. And we try to bring that whole thing together by showing them in a financial plan and all the things, the ifs and changes of what they can do and why they should do it and why they shouldn't worry.
I think the human condition lends itself to us wanting to make a checklist and check it off. Once you know what the tasks are, it takes the stress off you, right? I mean, once you know what the plan is going to be, it removes that fear because there's a plan for if, then this.
Up to the time, and I call it accumulation, deaccumulation. Up to the time you're deaccumulating, the plan is, how do I make money? How much money can I make? What investment should I be in? And that all depends on your risk tolerance. I mean, everybody would love to have $20 million. Not everyone's going to have $20 million. Very few people will have $20 million. But to accumulate $1 million or $2 million today, it's not that difficult if you start early.
Well, and those people, you know, like myself, who have big families, we worry, when is the deaccumulation phase? Because it feels like there's always financial needs, that things and people you want to take care of. You know, so there's different needs for different people. That's what's so amazing about these plans.
It's real simple. Deaccumulation comes when you no longer have income.
Yep.
Sufficient enough to take care of what you're doing. So in other words, you work, you have your income. If you're taking money out of your investments and your money you're putting away for retirement while you have income, that's a bad plan. Because what you're doing is spending money that you're trying to save when you don't have that income anymore. And that gets people into trouble.
Well, I think that if you have never had this conversation with someone, maybe you've spoken with a financial advisor when you're younger and you're doing your accumulation phase and you haven't revisited it, this is the best time to take a look and know if you're on the right path. Because if you're not, wouldn't you want to know sooner rather than later?
You do want to know sooner than later, okay? A lot of people are scared because they don't know, they don't understand. So one of the things we've decided to do going forward is every single quarter, and you can look on our website when we're having these, we do interactive financial plans for a small group of people to give them an idea of what it's about. So that way they can have a concept of what it is and understand when they come see us what we're going to do and then how we can customize it for themselves.
You know what I love about this? I think it takes a little bit of the intimidation factor away from it. If it's hard for someone to come in and talk to you one-on-one, maybe for the first meeting, this gives them a little more idea and makes them feel more comfortable in a group setting to know what they're getting themselves into.
100%. Intimidation factor doesn't come so much from us,
correct,
but it comes from the industry. It comes from our society, for instance. Our society does not teach people the fundamentals of financial literacy. We should be teaching this in junior high school. We should be teaching it in high school. It should be being taught in college. Real financial literacy. Not that bullcrap about economic Keynesian deciding what you do. Because we already know you have all these economists out there that get it all wrong. All right? They get it wrong. They don't know the numbers. They change the numbers. Okay? They don't know. What you need to do is understand the fundamentals of how money grows and what happens when it doesn't.
Well, that was better than I could have said it. If you haven't ever visited this conversation with your advisor, or maybe you've never had this conversation ever, now is the time, and this is a gift for you, the viewers, to come and talk to Dean and his phenomenal team and find out if you're on the right path. That number is 520-544-4909, or you can just scan that QR code at the bottom of the screen, and we'll be right back after this.
This is Money Matters with Dean Greenberg of the Greenberg Financial Group. I'm Spike Spangle. Dean, what really got you started in this industry?
It was because I was working for Ford Motor Company. I had ordered all the dealerships and I kind of looked at things and I said, this is not what I want. So I went back and got my MBA in finance and investments and said, I'm going to work on Wall Street. I didn't really know the journey I was going to have until later on, 1987, when the market crashed.
Yeah. Black Monday.
Black Monday. The only person in the company of 600 and some odd brokers. I was buying IBM, and I opened a $500,000 account. So they say to me, hey, this is unbelievable. How did you do this? What did you do? I just said, because I thought it was the right thing to do. Down 20%, it was probably a good time to buy, and I was more of a technician and an advisor and an educator at that time. Long story short, they tell me a week later I never owned the stock. The back offices back then could not handle 1 billion shares a day. So a week and a half later, they tell me I don't own it, and I needed to call the client to tell them they didn't own the stock. And I told them that they should pay the client. Next day I came in, my box of stuff was in there, and they told me I was fired. And I went to go see the guy I knew to go get a job. And he said, Dean, I'd hire you tomorrow, but you need to start your own business. I laughed at him and said, how am I gonna start my own business? I only have $5,000. He said, figure it out. We're all salesmen. You educate, you care about the markets, you care about your clients. So I guess I figured it out.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg of Greenberg Financial Group. And Dean, we were talking before the break about, you're different the way you approach things. So you started this because you saw like a need in the industry, but you built a team that really supports you in a different way than a lot of advisors.
I've been doing this business for over 40 years. In Tucson for about 35, 36 years now. And finally, after I figured it out 5 years ago. On not just the business, that I've always known how to learn how to manage money and do a good job there, but how do you build a business that has legs, legacy? How do you build a business that you didn't have to do and just sell it off? Because I didn't really want to sell it off. That's not my type. That's not me. So what I said, what do I do well? I've been a good coach. I've won championships. I put teams together. I motivate people. So I went back and I figured out that's what I need to do at Greenberg Financial Group. And I got rid of narcissists. I got rid of people that are not team players. Yeah, it cost me a little bit at the beginning, but the long-term result is simple. We have a team approach. We're not individuals. So how do you have to do that? We have to compensate people on how the company does, not how an individual does, and get them to work together. So you have to hire people, I said to myself, that actually play team sports. And that's hard to stick to because there are a lot of smart people out there that didn't play team sports, but they didn't fit into what I wanted to do. And I wanted people to understand that we're only as good as the worst person on this team. And we're only as good as the person that works the least amount. And we need leaders out of everyone. And so that's what we did. We put them together. Everyone has worked at a team sport.
I think another benefit to it is we all know that there are areas that we're not as good at, and then we can surround ourselves with people who have those strengths. We all have different strengths, and so we can really support each other.
No doubt. I'm a visionary. There's no doubt about it. I know that. When it comes to details, I can do them. I don't want to do them every day. My son Dylan, perfect example. He loves that stuff. And so he's working as being the trader with me. He's got everything down. He knows everything going on. He does the research. He does the stuff. He understands it. And then he has a great personality.
Well, let's talk about that. Your son, and then you've got Todd, who are both young guys, and we've had them on other shows. What's that like working in this industry with some, guys that they're just, they're fresh young guys and they have a totally different perspective?
Well, they were fresh. They're not fresh anymore. They've got 5-7 years underneath their belt now.
Not after you've been with them for a while.
Okay. Well, I'm a big believer. Throw people into the fire and don't let them burn. You know what I'm saying? And teach them and get them out of there and motivate them and push them. So,
and they've got to have a kind of unique perspective coming from their generation, too.
Right. And they got to be smart. Okay? They got to be smart, and they got to understand what it is to learn from other people. And it's worked out great. I mean, Todd and Dylan work fantastic together. Obviously, they're the successor plan as we go through this over the next 5, 10, 15 years. But they've got it to the point now that I have to let go. I mean, it's there, and I got a lot of input from them. How do they want to design it? What do they want to do? And then, obviously, at the end, we come to what is called a team agreement. And we all go in the same direction. And when you have everyone going in the same direction, it really works. So people we take on, we have Sebastian now with us, and people hear him on the radio all the time. He's another young guy. And he's like he's an advisor. He's passed all the tests, and he's also a junior trader, but he's learning the whole business from us. He works his butt off. He does a great job, and it just helps support everybody. And then my assistants are great.
I love this team perspective because anyone, like me from a big family, we understand it kind of takes a village, right?
Yeah.
And so what's nice is if I'm going to give you a call and you're not available, I know that there's somebody always there that knows me and my situation. I think that's maybe some of where the intimidation factor comes from. Maybe some people feel not worthy, or they feel like, oh, I'm just going to get lost in the shuffle. And so this makes you feel like you always have somebody on the other side of the phone.
Well, from a business standpoint, let's face it, in our business, it's a totally, over time, it's a turnover business, whether you like it or not, because people pass away, okay? Money goes away to charities, people go to if their children aren't there, we get to know them, it goes different ways. So you always have to bring in more money, new money, and you always do it. But you always have to keep your clients happy. And that's what I've kind of taught them. You got to market, you got to be out there, and you got to and increase your business while also taking care of the people you got. The biggest fear I had was with having the younger guys in there, not from can they build a business, are they smart, can they do it? What will be the impression when people come in that are 60, 70 years old when they know my successor plan are younger, 30s, high 20s, you know what I'm saying? And my concern was, can they close big business, or do I have to be there on an everyday basis? My fears are gone. I mean, they come and after meeting, they tell me, you first come in, they're young, but their intelligence, the way they talk to me, the way they explain the thing, I don't care how people that have been in business 20 years don't do what they do. They understand so much about the business. They're so smart about the business, but they also understand and listen to what I need and what my needs are. And it's like, wow, all those fears about them being younger turned into, wow, I'm glad they're young because they're going to be here.
So what do you think, what is holding most people back from picking up that phone and calling? Why are they too...
Fear of not knowing. People talking above them, using terminology they don't know. The Madoffs of the world, people that rip off people that don't care about the people, you know what I mean? And them not knowing themselves or what a stock market is, or allocation is, or or Bitcoin is.
Okay, but
they just hear stuff on the news and that, oh, I should be in that. They don't understand what a plan is.
But they don't need to know any of those things. What do they need to have in order to come meet with you?
Money. That's it. You have money, we'll put the plan together. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money, because it could be zero money, but you have a pension coming in at some time. You got a 401k rolling in. Social Security, when should you take it? Medicare, okay? All these things come into play in your plan.
So you take all those puzzle pieces, put them together, and then we create something that is unique, and we don't just do it once, we do it and revisit it.
Well, the word unique is not so much custom.
Custom.
Okay, like you have custom jackets for people. I can't go into your rack and you're going to give me a jacket. You're going to have to make it custom for me, you know? And it's the same thing. Their plan is custom to them. Then what we do differently, we don't give it to someone else to manage. We actually do the allocations, we press the button, we pull the trigger, we allocate, we mitigate risk, we do things other people don't do, because we're in control of the destiny of those accounts, just like everyone else. And obviously, we're at the behold of the markets. The markets are going to teach us. But our allocation process is able to go with your risk tolerance. And then when you put that all together, we're successful at the end of the day.
I mean, this is, to me, the best gift you could give people is the gift of knowledge, and to take that fear off of it is priceless. That phone number is 520-544-4909, or you can scan that QR code at the bottom of the screen. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We hope you'll stay with us. We'll see you in a minute.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you.
You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg of Greenberg Financial Group. And Dean, we're talking before about fear, like why are people afraid to pull that trigger? It just seems like the world is in such a state where we have so many things that people are fearful of. There's a lot of chaos in the world. What do you feel like we should be focused on right now?
Getting off social media should be number one. Not listening to the news is number two, okay? Because let's go back to the 60s. All you can hear about is how we had social unrest. What do we have now? Social unrest. What do we have there? We had Vietnam War. What do we have now? We have wars and we're not even really involved, but we're kind of involved, all right? So if you look at the 70s, what do you have? Stagflation. That's what we need to worry about, is stagflation. Everything else is just noise. Noise that affects your plan because you do not have a plan. And if you had a plan, it doesn't matter. Up, down, anywhere. Because the one thing I can tell you is every time the markets have gone down, every time that interest rates have gone up, they've turned around. Do you realize in 1987, the S&P was what, at 100? Okay? When we fell in 2008, right? 2008, we were down to 665 on the S&P. It's at 6,400 now. Okay? That's 6,000 points. Since 2001, 2008, the markets have rallied tremendously, but everybody got scared. If you're afraid of individual stocks, like, because you don't want an Enron and stuff like, just buy the indexes. The indexes will always do well. You know why? They're rigged. They're rigged. You know why they're rigged? Because they are there to go higher. If there's a stock in there that's not doing well, what do? They remove it and put another one in, right? Remember when GE was everyone will love GE. They took GE out and they put another stock in. They took Intel out and they put in NVIDIA. Someday NVIDIA will not be doing what it's doing and NVIDIA will be out and another company will be back in. It is rigged to go higher. Be part of that. If you're not part of that, then you realize that you don't know what you're doing.
Well, speaking of the stock market, I mean, obviously we're at kind of all-time highs right now, and it seems like it came out of nowhere. A lot of people are afraid this is falsely inflated, it has to go down, la, la, la.
Well, it didn't come out of nowhere, okay? We got nervous with tariffs in February, March, so we dropped 20% down to 4,800 on the S&P 500. Then as the markets that are always smarter than people realized, wait a second, we still have an economy, we still have to do things, these people are going to have to realize that where we live, whether you like it or not, we are the greatest country in the world. We are the ones that make the sun rise and set. We are the ones that people need to do business with. They have to do stuff with us. When you realize that the tariff situation is to go ahead and make it fair and stop taking money from our taxes and paying everyone and letting everyone work out, you'll realize that we're going well. It just takes time. But if you hate someone because the media tells you you should hate someone, then you're never going to like a Democrat and you're never going to like a Republican, because that's what's going to happen. If you get rid of that and realize no matter who's in, eventually the markets go higher. You use that opportunity. Now, from 4,800 to 6,400, I'll be the first one to tell you, that's ridiculous on how quick it moved. But if you take it and say, you know what, we were at like 57, 5,800, and we fell down there, or 6,000, it's not that big a move from where we were before that. But you have to always understand mitigating risk. I think there's always going to be risk. But how about the opposite? What if we do get a peace in the world? What if we really do get peace? What if we really do have oil prices stay low? What if we really do get the things that we're trying to achieve? What if we really get enough money from tariffs that you don't have to pay income tax on your Fed up to $200,000? And then we go, oh, that can't happen. Well, did you think that overtime was not going to be taxed? Did you think Social Security was going to get a break? Did you think that tips were not going to get it? It's there. You have to be a visionary. And what
a lot of it comes back to,
know.
I think Americans are like they don't like being uncomfortable. They like being comfortable. We've had a long run of it, and nobody likes to feel like the boat's being rocked. But if we want to make change, you got to rock the boat. And you know what? And that's not going to happen overnight. You said let's get off social media. What does social media do? It makes people feel like they get instant gratification. We can't have that with everything. Things that are worth it, you got to take time.
I'm talking about serious stuff. I'm talking about your financial plan to succeed in life. I don't care what happens. I will learn from whatever happens on how to either protect or make money. Okay? That's my job. I can't say, oh, it's got to be this way, that way. I understand economics. I understand the economy. I understand that most people don't have the vision to see where our current President Trump is going. Whether I like him or not, I understand what's trying to happen. And I think it will turn out to be great. But if it doesn't, then I also know how to protect. Listen, even when the Democrats in, the markets go up too. You just have to look for the right areas. But, you know, it doesn't matter from my point of view. I just have to understand what's going to happen.
Look, at the end of the day, it all comes back to that financial plan. If you have a plan, then you can deal with the ifs, ands, or buts. The what ifs are what people are afraid of, and we're taking a lot of that guesswork off and giving those people the peace of mind to know that they can sit on the beach and have their margarita.
It's there. They see it. It's good for them. And then they can always come talk to us, right? We'll hold everyone's hand through it. We'll explain to it, good, bad, or indifferent. It's great now when it's going up. But you also need us more when it's going down.
And don't forget, too, you can go to greenbergfinancial.com and you can look at their quarterly workshops that they have. So if you don't want to come in and do that by yourself, you still have the option of doing these complimentary workshops to kind of get an idea of where Dean's team is at and give you an idea of how you can get on that same train to 100%. Where you want to be. Thank you so much. As always, we never stop talking, but we hope you'll join us for the next episode of Money Matters, because yours certainly does. We'll see you soon.